The majority of the skeletal system is composed of bone, which forms the framework for the human body. Bone is the site of attachment of skeletal muscles which, when they contract, pull on the bones to create movement at joints. Bone also surrounds and protects a number of delicate internal structures such as the brain and spinal cord. Furthermore, bone is the site of production of blood cells and a location for the storage of minerals and fat. When we look more closely at bone, we can see there are two types of bone. Compact or dense bone is more solid in nature and contains fewer and smaller spaces, whilst spongy or cancellous bone has many large spaces within it that are surrounded by thin bony plates known as trabeculae. The amount of compact and spongy bone within a bone varies depending upon the classification of the bone. There are four principal types or classifications of bones based on their shape. The first that we're going to look at is the long bone. For example, the ulna located in the forearm. A long bone is defined as a bone that has a greater length compared to width. And these bones are particularly important for providing support and weight bearing along their shaft or diaphysis, which is this part here. And their ends are typically rounded. Here we have the proximal end, here is the distal end, for articulation with other bones and also for the attachment of tendons and ligaments. Here is an example of a long bone, the femur, and you can see the arrangement of the compact and the cancellous bone. The compact or dense bone is located within the shaft or diaphysis and surrounds the medullary cavity, which in the adult contains yellow bone marrow. At the proximal end and the distal ends, you can see they are composed of cancellous or spongy bone. And in an adult, at the proximal end, this epiphysis or end of the bone will contain red bone marrow. The next type of bone that we're going to look at is the short bone, and a short bone is defined as a bone of approximately equal length and width. And the example here represented in the diagram are the 8 carpal bones located in the wrist. The carpal bones are composed of a core of spongy bone surrounded by a thin layer of compact bone, and these short bones typically articulate with a number of surrounding bones. A small amount of movement occurs between these bones, which makes them reasonably flexible but also offers a great deal of support and stability. Flat bones are bones that are flat and thin in shape. The example in your diagram is the scapula or the shoulder blade. In a flat bone, we have a middle section of spongy bone with 2 thin plates of compact bone on either side. So it represents like a ham sandwich, with the spongy bone being the ham in the middle and the compact bone representing the bread on either side of the sandwich. And these bones are particularly important for providing protection. This example here shows the skull bones surrounding and protecting the brain, and they also provide extensive areas, surface areas for the attachment of muscles. Any bone that doesn't fit into the category of long, short or flat bone is classified as an irregular bone, and the example is in your diagram is a vertebra of the spinal column. In an irregular bone, such as this one found in the skull, this is the sphenoid bone, Like the short and the flat bones, they are composed of a core of cancellous bone surrounded by a thin layer of compact bone. And these irregular bones have a number of bony projections which will articulate with surrounding bones to form joints, and they will also provide, again, large surface areas for the attachment of muscles and tendons. The final bone, which is sometimes classified in its own group, is the sesamoid bone. This is the most well-known sesamoid bone in the body, the patella, located in front of the femur at the knee joint. And a sesamoid bone is a small bone which is found within a tendon. And in this case, the patella is found within the quadriceps tendon of the thigh. Thank you.